So how in the world do you lose 30 grand on a simple, easy job? I don't know, there's a million ways to do that, but I'll tell you how we did it. So this is how it started. So multiple things led up to this. This is a homemade jobby. We were doing a demo on a trailer home. So this is from a local trailer park. This is where the line connects. You can see this is like 3/4 inch irrigation line that's really rusted and corroded. This is, I'm guessing, around 40 years old. And this mounts at the bottom. And then you can see there's a 90, like a swooping 90 in there. They put this PVC and insulation here to try to get it to freeze, because you can see it's only about 6 feet deep. So this is down where it connects. This pile of trash, 3/4 inch line, really thin, really chintzy. There's supposed to be a brick underneath here supporting this. And then here at the top, they have an insulated, way to insulate it, some jimmy rigged up, and like a 1/2 inch ball valve. So this, about 6 feet in the ground, comes up and it goes underneath a mobile home. And then they hook mobile home to that, and they can plug this in the winter so it doesn't freeze. So that's what we were working with here. So we were demoing a trailer home. This is sticking up about 1.5 feet above grade. And we were cleaning up, we had the mobile home all tore out. We were cleaning up because we were demoing it and just bringing it back to grade. This is where the grade was. So there's about 1.5 feet sticking out of the ground. So I told my brother Jameson, I said, see this right here? You gotta treat this like a baby. Don't want to run over it, steer clear of it. Don't go within like 5 feet of it with the skid loader, because if you hit it, it's not gonna be good. So he was grading, site's done, about cleaned up, so kind of grading around everywhere, smoothing everything out. And what did he do? He backed over it. He didn't back completely over it, but he hit this top. He hit the top and just like jostled it a little bit. Didn't break it, didn't do anything, just kind of bent it a little bit. We kind of straightened it back up, and it seemed to be fine. It wasn't leaking, nothing was going on. And then what happened was, when it broke down low there, it started leaking underground, but we didn't know. How would we know? The only way we would have known is if we would have dug it up. So what I would do now is, if we ever bump that or hit it, learning from this experience, basically start digging it up to make sure that it wasn't leaking. Because what happened was it started leaking down from the bottom. We didn't know. And this was, the whole system is on a meter. So what happened was it leaked for a month, and then finally the city sent a bill, and it was for almost 30 grand more than what it normally was for that park. So they figured, it must be a leak. So right away when they called me, the guy called me, hey Garrett, we have $30,000 increased water bill. There must be a leak somewhere. Any ideas? I'm like, oh shoot. I was like, I'll go check the ones we were working, and just start digging around there and see if we find a leak or whatever. So I went and dug, took like 2 scoops, like a foot deep, and the hole just instantly filled up with water because the ground was so saturated. It leaked 30 grand in water all around the bottom of that. So the ground was so saturated. It was all sand. So there wasn't a puddle or anything. But as soon as the ground was so saturated, as soon as you started digging, the hole just filled up. So I said, oh, great. And that was at like 4 p.m. I think it was a Thursday or maybe a Friday. So we knew we had to fix it. So we got the city out there because they wanted to see anytime we work with them. We had the city shut off the main and then dug it all up. And I think we got it fixed by like 1 or 2 a.m. So I had it all fixed, and by the time the parts, and we had to pay for the water bill, of course, because we hit it and we didn't know. We should have done is dug up to make sure it wasn't leaking. So if you ever hit something, a curb stop, a standpipe, anything like this, and you hit it, dig it up and make sure that it's good, it ain't leaking, because that's what happened. It leaked basically almost 30 grand in water. I seen the water bill from the city. I tried to negotiate with them a little bit, say, hey, is there anything you can do? They did come down in price a little bit, understanding it was a leak, it was a mistake. So we got them down a little bit, but in the end it ended up costing us over 30 grand. The job itself, I think, was only like 6-7 grand. So that was, we took the L on that one, and that's not the only L we've ever taken. If you guys want to see more videos on mistakes like this that we've made, let me know, because there's plenty I can make videos on. So yeah, that's how we lost 30 grand on a $7,000 job. We put that through insurance. This was 3-4 years ago. We didn't have the money. I mean, we probably could have made it work, but we didn't want to pay that out of pocket. So let me show you how these things are supposed to. So typically this is what you'd have. This is a legitimate curb stop. The stop has copper flares. This is what should have been down there. And then this sits on a brick. So the curb stop's sitting this way, and then there's always a brick sitting this way. So if you do push down, it won't move. And then, it's copper, has some flex. Everything in most mobile home parks are super cheap. So you can see this is what should be. This is cost like $300, but they designed and built this thing for, a quarter of that. So it's cheap, very inexpensive, and just, it isn't as good. So this is what should have been there, with a brick going sideways. This screws, so this rod goes on top of here, and then this screws, there's threads on the bottom of that thread onto these threads right here. So this is how it should have been done. And then these are the caps you see everywhere. You see these caps sticking up out of the ground everywhere. So, and those have adjustments like 1.5 feet. So if you do hit them, they're a lot more durable. But yeah, this is what should be there. But since they're so much more expensive, trailer parks don't like to spend the money, they like to cheap out, and that's what you end up with. So So that's one way to lose 30 grand on a job. And I'm sure some of you watching this have lost a lot more than that. Completely an honest mistake. You knew about it, you knew where it was, and you would go around it. You're just grading, you know, smoothing everything out, getting it back to even grade, and lost track of it. What we do now is we put like a 10-foot marker there. So when you're in the skid loader, if something's 1.5 feet high and you're looking back, you can't always see that. So I put like a 10-foot marker there. I mean, like OSHA says, every mistake is avoidable, which it is, but we're all human and we all have that human element to us. So I mean, every good operator's made mistakes, and that's how you learn. So this was a mistake that we made, that we learned from. Haven't done it since, and hopefully we won't ever. So it is what it is. It's not like that guy's an idiot because of that. It's not like, you know, he'll never be a good operator because of that. He learned from it. It is what it is. Hasn't made that mistake since. So that's the way I see it. So thanks so much for watching, everyone. Remember, it's what you make it to be.